Hey there everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you had a nice week and hope you have some fun things to do over the weekend. Maybe you're going out holiday shopping and this and that. One little thing to mention is you're doing your shopping during the holidays. If you do shopping during the holidays, keep your eyes out for people. There's a lot of people that do without this time of year. There's a lot of people that have seasonal struggles. Do something, maybe if it's even just buy a toy, buy an extra toy, buy a couple of extra toys, drop them off at your local toy drive. But look for those people that are always, that it might be a little down during the holidays. People tend to get like that. And also too, we're coming into cold weather, so, keep those people on the streets, do what you can. I'm going to try to, eventually when I can make it back down to Pensacola, I think I'm going to buy some socks, like a bunch of socks at the dollar store, one of the cheaper stores, and give them out. But anyhow, today I want to talk about how the raw food diet makes me feel is the bottom line. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you haven't already done it, please go down and hit that subscribe button now. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. I said something on Instagram last night that got me to thinking, and it just basically boils my whole philosophy on this thing on life down to one thing. Does it make you happy? Is what you're doing, whether it's your diet or your job, whatever, is it making you happy? I'm ahead of the game. I keep it simple. I try to keep it uber simple. I try to keep it ridiculously simple. I wake up in the morning. When I wake up in the morning, I'm happy. When I go to bed at night, I'm happy. To me, that is the measuring stick. That's it. There ain't no other measuring stick. I'm happy. And whether it's been, the actual food itself, the food or the lack of food that's cleaned me out or whatever, I've pretty much been happy since I have been on this lifestyle. And I've been happy, I think, because I've had this attitude about it the whole time. Everything is measured by how I feel. I can't, I talk about this over and over and over. I probably overdo it a bit sometimes, but I have to, using common sense, I'm not saying you always just go with that gut instinct or whatever, but I have to trust how I feel above everything. And that has led me to the point I am now. And even after 6.5 years, you would think, okay, you're going to plateau at some point, but I keep feeling better. And I think the reason my path has been like it is, and the reason it's been effortless and the way it's had me thriving is I've had that from the beginning. I'm not into the, what would you call it, the community, the culture, labeling part of being a raw vegan or whatever. I do it because it makes me feel better than I've ever felt in my life. That's the bottom line. I feel good all the time. If I didn't feel good all the time, I'm not going to do this. And I got in the direction, and I think I am who I am today with this food thing in this community or whatever, because I have trusted how I feel. Listen, I got caught up in that stuff too in the beginning. When I first 6.5 years ago, I don't know how, or the different places where you tend to come to this lifestyle, you start watching videos or you have Facebook groups or whatever. For some reason I was seeing a ton of juicing stuff back then, and honestly I found out that juicing thing just ain't for me. This constantly living on juice, it's why I got so skinny in the first place. Putting too much importance on juice. It's a lot of work to maintain over and over. And bottom line, I felt weak when I was juicing. Now, there were other factors involved. Okay, yes, you can juice, but that just wasn't my thing. And this whole kind of like continuously detoxing, taking it to the next level, it seems like I just kind of like my first views of this lifestyle were people restricting, even though we don't talk about that. They were always trying to be a little bit higher, vibrate a little bit higher. I believe in that stuff, but when people start talking about their food vibrating, I get a little suspicious. Doesn't mean I won't listen to them, because food does have a vibration, but a lot of that woo-woo stuff and all this stuff has never resonated with me. in the beginning, and that's what, you know, just kind of took me down the path. Boom, I jump in both feet first. I go high raw 6.5 years ago. I got to a point after about, I forgot how long that was, about after, oh no, it was still going on 2, 3, 4 months later, to where almost every time I stood up, I had to steady myself because I had low blood sugar. You know, I was listening to all the babble at the time, like, oh, you're detoxing, and oh, you're spiritually, and I was all emotional and stuff all the time. It was nothing but low bloody sugar. I mean, it was so common. So I started eating. And ever since then, you know, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I feel those mistakes, and I guide by how my body feels. I don't know. I think a lot of times people get influenced here. You know, it's kind of like this little subtle psychological influence. Even eating cooked food. I've probably been as clean as anybody you know out there for long, long periods of time. I ate a little bit of cooked food, and I just don't resonate with that. Like, oh God, I ate a bite. There was a bite of this one little thing of cooked in my food the other day, and my tongue broke out and my hair started falling. I'm sorry, that's hysteria. That's not happening. But anyhow, it's always been about how I feel, and that hadn't changed. I got some notes here. Y'all don't even worry about it while I'm looking at my notes. And one thing I noticed too, tell me if this resonates a little bit, and this is just kind of, I don't know if there's even going to be a point to this video. It seems that the more people know about this raw food diet, raw vegan lifestyle, the more they actually know and that they can recite back, the less happy they are. Have you noticed that? Like I was kind of in a silly mood yesterday, and I was kind of equating it to being like the Puritans. You know, the Puritans that were in our country, that came to this country early on. They were very strict. They didn't smile. They didn't play. I don't think they had fun. I don't think they were ever happy. Everything was very stern, very serious, and there was this hierarchy of the real serious men discussing things. I get that vibe in the raw food thing sometime. You know, like it's real serious like that. But none of those serious people, like I've stumbled into those groups before. I don't even know what they are now, so don't even ask me. But where it's like a whole bunch of those dudes with like that get into that next level stuff, like, you know, like they've read all the hygienist, natural hygienist, they've read all the books, and they get into these deep like discussions and stuff over it, and they're very dour and they're very serious. They just don't seem fucking happy, if you ask me. And I'm a clown. If I'm not waking up happy, I'm going to do something else that makes me happy. I evolved with how I eat. You know, like I say, it's almost just been, okay, take a little trip, go down the road a little bit. Okay, let's hang out here for a while. Let's see how this is. Let's see how I go. When I'm feeling really good there, feeling top notch, I move on down the road. And you know, like I say, in the beginning, it was just the first 4 or 5 months wasn't the best experience to this lifestyle, although I didn't have a lot of extreme detox like the headaches or whatever. But I'm like, is this what it's going to be about? Am I going to be a little kind of wimpy, emotional, you know, always kind of frail, holding on to stuff because I have low blood sugar? And that's when I just started eating. Like, you know, it's evolved. I won't say that I even went from that period straight into something else, but over a course of time, as I've sat back and watched this thing, and I see all the little trends that come. I mean, you know, 6.5 years, everything you're watching today is a freaking trend. You watch me and see. It may be your buzz right now, but they always have to be changing. It always has to be changing within an industry, because if you keep it the same, there's nothing else new to sell with it. So it's always going to be changing. There's always going to be an island. There's always going to be this special cleanse. Everybody's drinking this right now. It's such a bandwagon. See, I don't have no trends. My body ain't a trend. What I'm putting into my body ain't a trend. I've been feeding this body since day one, and what I figured out on my path is, especially if I'm going to be somebody that eats lower fat, or definitely goes longer periods of the year eating lower fat, that I got to eat. You know, if I don't eat, that's why I can't, you know, that's why I'm almost suspicious with people like, yeah, I got to see you first. I just can't believe it, because I have to eat and work and eat and work and eat and work and make sure I'm diligent and keep it up to maintain my weight on this lifestyle. So yeah, that's worked for me, being, you know, and I don't go to ridiculous stages. I mean, you know, I remember back, I don't even know if people are still doing that. There was a period a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, where everybody was just stuffing. Oh, I'm eating 6, I'm eating 8,000. And if they're not elite athletes, I'm like, okay, that's absurd. That's absurd. Number one, I couldn't get that much food in and keeping it clean. I mean, I shoot for about 3,000 calories. You know, I probably fall short a lot of times. I am focusing on it now as I'm trying to get my fat boy on and get a little bit bigger. But yeah, but anyhow, just gonna finish it up like that. If your raw food diet is making you feel good, continue on. If you're not happy with it, if it's not making you happy, if you're miserable, if you're constantly going throughout the day, you know, like trying to hold out from this and hold out from that, you're doing something wrong, because you can have it all. I mean, like I say, maybe I'm just kind of like the village idiot, and you know, the village idiot's usually happy because he's kind of a simpleton. Maybe I'm like that, but I'm happy. Life is good. So I don't know. I don't even know if there was a point to that. Just wanted to connect with y'all today. If you like this one, please give me a thumbs up, and we'll see y'all again tomorrow. Peace.